You're gonna have to wait then. I just went on. Sorry. I'm live. I'm live. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and start. Good evening. You know, I didn't show up last night because my daughter had an event. I do hope everybody is doing well this evening. Hope your babies are doing well. Hope everybody is blessed. And thank you for those of you that are still supporting me. I truly, truly, truly appreciate it. I hope you guys are looking at the images, and I hope you guys are having luck with pulling out the images. And if you have any questions in regards to those things or need me to direct you into areas in how to find those images much better or faster, then let me know. And if you need me to send you over the actual image of the car so that you're able to download it to your phones so that you can be able to look at the images closely, then please, you can also send me a message or whatever and let me know as well, because like I said, I'm not a professional at being able to get these images as clear as I need them to be in order to share them. So therefore, if you're wanting to receive a copy of it so that you can try and see if you can get them to come out better, then that's perfectly fine. Tonight I am going to, let me go ahead and do my, my scripture. My scripture this evening comes from Romans 13:1. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. And the reason I chose this is because it says, let every person be subject to the governing authorities. And the governing authorities are the, are the police, and that whole, judicial system. And the reason I chose this scripture is because of the fact I received today a copy of the Union County Sheriff Office criminal investigation, I guess their incident report from the incident. And when I read over it, I must say it made me kind of disappointed, because I specifically, and if you guys remember the audios from Attorney Jeff Rogers, and his bold and strong tones when he shared with me that he was waiting for the toxicology reports for Ashley before he makes any decisions, and blase. And the same thing with Sheriff Ricky Roberts. He did the same thing. He bit my head off about information that he supposedly seen in these reports for Ashley as well. And in the report that I'm going to share with you tonight, they didn't even, by the looks of this report, they didn't even do a drug test. They didn't do any type of testing on her. So we're going to go through this report and look at some of the information that was shared in this report. So first off, what came to the first thing I noticed was that we dealt with a Sergeant Sanders during the whole time, and we had people that were sharing with us that there was another investigating officer that they were communicating with or what have you in regards to the case. And anytime we mentioned Sergeant Sanders, they was like, that wasn't the person, and we didn't have another name for an investigating officer. But apparently there was another investigating officer, and his name is on here. And we wasn't aware that Sergeant Cole, Sergeant Cole Nold, I guess that's how you pronounce his last name, we wasn't even aware that he even existed. And so I guess apparently information from us and questions regarding, directly that the family was directly involved was going to Sergeant Sanders, and people that we were advising to talk to people, or people that was coming forward. I guess supposedly Mr. Cole, I don't want to call this last name. It says Nold, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, so I don't want to mess it up. But I guess apparently he was a person that was supposed to have been taking information from other individuals from the community that was trying to, help out. But this is my first time actually seeing his name. And I want to say there was even another name that was in the newspaper, because I don't believe this was the name. I think this is the first time I've seen this wonderful name here, but this is the name that's on the Arkansas Motor Vehicle Crash Report. On this report, it has all the crash factors and conditions and things like that. Another thing that stood out to me was it says time police notified was at 7:35, and then it says time police arrived 7:47. The time that he was pronounced dead was around 8:48. So I feel like, okay, well, that's a lot of time. So I would have liked to know, what was said during that time, if anything was said, or what happened. But I just felt like there was a gap there for something to have taken place. On here, it does say that law enforcement was not present, and actually I do have something that shows law enforcement was present. And this again, with the car, the image that we have of the vehicle, this again confirms, with this report, it says that the first the police was on the scene at 7:35 is when when they was notified, and they arrived on the scene at 7:47. So this was their reasoning, or this was why the paperwork at the prosecuting attorney's office, the case file, did not have any night vision photos where the car was taken. Where the incident, I suppose, had taken place, because nobody had supposedly seen the body, or nobody knew what she had hit, and they didn't get a call until 7:35 that morning. So, but we realized that with that photo alone, that wasn't the truth. Somebody did see the car, see the body, and there was images of the car that was taken at the time of the incident. On here, now another concern that we ran into was, if you remembered, during the time we was listening to the audios and things, and during the time that I went back through the case files, I had shared with you guys that one of my concerns was that there were so many different names for this young lady in the case file. Like, they had a Ashley Nicole Booth, there was a Ashley Nicole Woosley Winans, there was a Ashley Marie Booth, and so it was like, okay, who was the person, who was the person that was actually responsible for the incident? Well, the thing that caught my attention here in this paperwork from the Arkansas Motor Vehicle Crash Report was that it says the owner of the vehicle shows up as a Ashley N. Booth. However, it says that the driver's information was a Ashley Nicole Woosley Winans. But nowhere in here, and we already have two different names. We have an Ashley N. Booth and an Ashley Nicole Woosley Winans. So, and I'm just wondering, how did that play out with the insurance in regards to, you have the vehicle under one name, and then you have the driver under another name. That's kind of interesting. Oh, by the way, the insurance on here, it says that the insurance was unknown. How in the world do you have a crash report for a motor vehicle incident and you have no verification for insurance, but she got a new vehicle out of it. That's interesting. But at any rate, but we have a Ashley Nicole Booth on one piece of paper that says this was the owner of the car, and then we have a Ashley Nicole Woosley Winings as the driver information. So, but in here we have nowhere whatsoever of a Ashley Marie Booth or Ashley Marie Woosley Winings or Ashley Marie anything. So, again, where did the name come from? And the reason this type of information is so important is because this shows the inconsistency. This shows the foul up. This shows the writing of documents. You know, the falsifying documents and stuff. This is all a part of that stuff. When you go and you don't write what's, you don't write what's there. You don't write what's, what the truth is in regards to it. Another thing I seen and noticed on here was, and then on here it does say that the vehicle was disabled from the damage. Sheriff Roberts said, well, she could have easily just drove away. Well, apparently not, because that's not what your report here says. So that wasn't the case. And it even here, it also says in another place that the vehicle was towed due to the damages. So again, Sheriff Roberts, no, she couldn't have just drove the vehicle away. So it wasn't like she did a courtesy park the car to the side of the road and because she had nothing to hide. It was that, no, she couldn't take the vehicle anywhere, according to this paperwork. And then again, because you guys have been truthfully challenged through this whole situation, we don't even know if that's even true. So we just have to go with what the paperwork is saying. Additional to that, I noticed that this document contradicts itself in so many places. Like, for example, it says that the vehicle was towed by M&A Record Service and was towed to 1407 Robert E. Lee. However, over here it says the pedestrian was declared deceased at approximately, 8:48. The vehicle one was impounded at the Union County Sheriff's Office. So here it says it was taken to the Union County Sheriff's Office. Here it says it was towed by M&A Record Service and taken to 1407 Robert E. Lee. During the sit down, when we talked about, there was an image, you guys, in the photos, while they were investigating the car and, and measuring out the damages or whatever, there was a photo of the two young ladies, the driver, as well as the young lady that picked her up. And these young ladies' reflection was caught, and the one that was facing the car, her reflection was caught smiling at the crime scene. And so we were told by one of the officers that no, that's not the crime scene. That's with the car at the back of the police department, the sheriff's office, what have you. So why would they be at the sheriff's office while the car is being investigated? We have no earthly idea. But apparently, I guess a day later or whatever, they had the privilege of getting a courtesy call to come and stand aside while their car was being investigated or searched. I don't know if anyone else gets those type of courtesy calls, but I guess that was the case there because they was there. And that was not a night, that didn't happen at night. That happened in broad daylight. Frankly, during the time she should have been getting booked, but at any rate, the other thing that I noticed that stood out on here that was interesting, the airbag did not deploy, but as you see, as you got the whole side of a car darn near ripped like paper, but the airbag did not deploy. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but because I've never been in an accident that bad where the airbag deployed. I haven't been in too many accidents. I want to say maybe one or two, but I've never had an airbag deployed. But I thought for the damages to that vehicle, especially with it being on the driver's front corner, that with that car being torn all the way up to the wheel, that the airbag should have deployed, but that wasn't the case in this situation. And then here's all the driver's information. Driver suspected of alcohol usage. It says no. Alcohol test type given. It says no test was given. Alcohol test result status. It says not applicable because no test was given. Blood alcohol content, same thing. Let's see. It says speeding rate related. It says unknown. Driver suspended. No drug test type giving, same thing, no test giving. Drug test results, of course, because of not giving, there's nothing applicable there. So all of that mumbo jumbo and waiting for the drug reports and all of that, that was BS, apparently, at least according to these documents. It even says that there was no pending, no drug test results, pending or negative. It says nothing. It says not applicable. So all of that was just air, hot air. Although it was animated and it was cruelly delivered, it was all hot air. Where it says, now this is interesting. It asks about the driver's actions at the time of the crash. And during these, it says improper maneuver. There was no response to that. In regards to swerved or avoided, they skipped over that section too. Improper use of signal lights, that was blanked. And unsafe operation, they did put there a 502 inattentive, careless, negligent, or erratic operation. Now, the thing about the swerved or avoided, I would have loved to see, how they would have answered that question, because when I tell you that the streets were free of skid marks, you know, like when you make an impact with something and it's so shocking that you've hit something that you hit your brakes, you know, and leave a mark, there was nothing. Swerve marks, there was nothing. So by the looks of it, it would have been just a straight, you know, just a straight rollover, just literally running him down. No stop, no nothing. So yeah, I would have wanted to see something there, but because I guess there was actually no evidence of it on the road, then they couldn't mark it. Let's see here. We have the disabled vehicle. Now this is what we have on here. It just says, for the narrative, vehicle 1 was traveling south on Highway 7 towards El Dorado in the area of 1932 Highway 7, and we do have two different locations. We have a 1932 and a 1944. They couldn't even get that straight. So that, yeah, 1944 Smackover Highway, and then we have another part of the report that says 1932. On Smackover Highway 7. A pedestrian walking south on Highway 7 as well. The driver of the vehicle 1 struck the pedestrian in the roadway, causing him to go airborne and land in the median. Vehicle 1 traveled a short distance to where it came to rest on the side of Highway 7 due to the vehicle being disabled. The driver of Vehicle 1 called for another ride to come pick them up because she thought she had hit a deer. The driver of the Vehicle 1 returned to the scene shortly after the deputies arrived. The pedestrian was declared deceased at approximately 8:48 a.m. Vehicle 1 was impounded at the Union County Sheriff's Office. The criminal investigation was handled by Union County CID. So that was the little narrative that they gave on here. Now, in regards to the image, let me just This is the now with this image. This was one of the concerns I had in regards to this. Now, this is the conversation John Shepard and I actually, had, because up here, this is where apparently, according to the story that was given, this is apparently where the body, where the car impacted the body, right here. But then the car continued to drive all the way up the road and pulled over to the side of the road down here. However, over here on the other side, because you have the medium right in here, I'm sorry, in the white area right in here. Oh my gosh. In the white area up and down there, there's a medium, a grassy medium area. But up here, over on this side of the road, all the way up, farther up, there's a church. And sit in front of that church was his backpack and some of his belongings. Well, when it came to the pictures for the crime scene, what they did was they only gave you this part. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm trying to look at this. Okay, let me see. They only gave you this section here. They didn't give you everything that happened up there, in that area where the backpack was, which is the same area where they were searching the streets or whatever for whatever they was looking for. And neither did they give you this area right here where the car had been stopped. They only gave you this small little area right here. And so that was a concern of mine, because I felt like, okay, if that was the potential crime scene, then it should have included everything from where his backpack and belongings were found all the way to where his body was located, as well as where that wonderful vehicle was pulled over to the side of the road. But that wasn't the case. And so that's what Shepard and I was talking about when I had called him in regards to why they didn't include the whole crime scene. This here is part of the incident report too. It just talks about who the officers were. We had a Sanders, you guys know that, and then like I said, this Officer Cole, or Knoll, Knoedl, which we did not hear his name during the whole case, but apparently he was out there somewhere working on the case. The victim, Donald Manning's information, and then it says for the suspect or the arrest, it has Ashley Nicole Woosley Winans, and for the arrest, if you notice here, it showed nothing. It said that it says arrest date, there's nothing there. It has arrest time, arrested by, none of that. Everything is blank. Everything was blank. So although they seen her on the scene, it's like I want to say, and they said that she had alcohol and drugs in her system, but apparently, like I said, all of it was a lie. They even have it here. Not saying that she didn't have it in her system. I'm just going to say that in regards to the report, although their mouth says she did, the report that they filed, it doesn't show it. And so let me just say this. I'm sorry. I can't even. You got police officers, you have prosecuting attorneys, you have the sheriffs, all involved in this over a year. False documents after false documents. You sat on the clock writing up all these freaking false statements. You even had the audacity to file them in court as though they were true. This is taxpayers' money. You got paid all this time with all this lying, breaking the law more than probably anybody in the freaking community. And you're sitting there, probably still to this day, on taxpayers' dime, standing up and still probably harassing people in the community, when the very people in the community should be sitting there looking at you and wondering, how could you do what you do? This is serious. This is serious. Everything that you said, and it came out of your own wonderful mouths. Go look at your reports. And you don't even have to look at your reports because you know your actions. You know what you did. But if you need a reminder, go look at your reports and then go back and look at my videos. Talking for Tomorrow, TFT. Go listen to your words. Don't listen to my words. Listen to your wonderful words. Listen to what you were sharing during that time. Listen to what you were saying during that time. Listen to what you were lying during that time. On taxpayers' monies, taxpayers' dimes. This is so disappointing. Like, seriously, I'm sitting here today looking at this stuff and taking it all in, remembering, recalling every time that you put your chest out in your cold tone and disrespected our family, I mean, boldly, with a lie, with lies after lies after lies. And you got paid to do it. You got paid to do it. So what happens now? Do you go back and give taxpayers back their money because you didn't provide a service that you were supposed to provide? So do you go back and give that money back? Do you go and work now without pay for the same amount of time that you invested into this fake freaking case? How did you even conjure up such attitude behind your lies? This is so disappointing. So disappointing. And then you have the audacity. I remember during the time that we was waiting for this case to, for you guys to let us know if he was going to make an arrest. I remember a time when there was a young man. I almost want to call him baby because I call anybody that's younger than me baby. A baby, somebody's baby. But I remember you guys making an arrest on an attempted robbery. Attempted robbery. Attempted robbery. I wonder, have you guys stopped to pause to think about what is all of this? Because this is bigger than attempted robbery. And just in case the wonderful person out there is listening and they're saying, yeah, don't get it twisted. You and your attempted robbery wonderful self, you shouldn't be out there attempting to rob anybody. And I pray that you got out that case okay, but still, in regards to the prosecuting attorneys, police officers involved in this stuff here, I'm pretty sure you have a bigger case than a lot of the people whose faces you're in right now. I don't even want to go through the rest of this. This is ridiculous. And I'm sorry. To your badge, you're a disgrace. For your lies, your inappropriate behavior, your manipulation to this case, you do not represent a true officer. You do not. For the prosecuting attorneys that's supposed to be representing the state, no, you do not neither. You was not representing the state. And for the taxpayers whose money that they sat there and got paid off of, you guys should be very, very disappointed. You really should be. And yes, they should be somewhere paying their, what is it, your restitution. Give some of the money back to the state. Give some of the money. If you don't give it back to the state, give it back to the people. Take a year's paycheck or something and give it to the community. Do something nice for the community. Because that was a waste of the community's time. It was a waste of our time. And if you don't want to be in the position, or if you don't want to do the job correctly, then get out of the position. Because apparently you're not fit for it in the first place. Please forgive me, but I guess I got a little disappointed. And if you don't understand why, you just have to go back and listen to the conversations. It's I'm talking for Tomorrow TFT, but everything that you said to me, Jeff Rogers, Attorney Jeff Rogers, prosecuting Attorney Jeff Rogers, was a lie. And Sheriff Roberts, I don't care how much you got them to doctor up that doctored up document at the Arkansas State Crime Lab. You lied. And I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say that over and over and over. And I guess I'm going to keep saying it as long as I keep running into paperwork like this that confirms it over and over and over. And I guess it's because I don't understand it. I don't understand how the court system, how your authoritative figures allowed you guys to even do some mess like this. And to know that, you know what, let me tell you, this is what it boils down to. Some wonderful person, I don't know how long ago, some wonderful person set up and they have seen or they have witnessed individuals hitting deers and getting away with it. And they thought, you know what, this is the perfect crime. This is the perfect crime. You know what? So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to get somebody to murder somebody. And we're going to say, you know what? They hit them and they thought they hit a deer. You can't take the vehicle from the scene. You know why you can't take the vehicle from the scene? Because then they're going to say that you left the scene. You obstructed justice or whatever, and you took a vehicle, you took the crime vehicle or whatever from the scene. So you leave the vehicle there. Right? How long have you guys been hitting deers or hitting people and saying you thought you hit deers? Because apparently in this wonderful, supposed to be brilliant plan that you guys planned out, you guys didn't think of everything. You missed some things. Actually, I still cannot understand how you get caught up in all of this. 20-some years old. How did you get caught up in something as malicious as this? I mean, I've heard people say that you have a rep. You have a bad personality and that you're supposed to be a bad person. At 20-some years old, how bad could you possibly be? I keep praying and wanting to see something different. I actually wanted to see something different for you. I wanted to see something different for Sheriff Roberts. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, prosecuting attorney Jeff Rogers, when you called that ambush, you showed us who you were. I mean, just point blank. And like Maya Angelou said, believe it. So I'm sorry, I believe it. Because you had no right. But for the others, it's like I keep waiting. I wanted to believe something different. But every time I turn around, everything that's coming to light says, nope, nope, she lied. Nope, Chef Ricky Roberts lied. Over and over and over and over again. Do you guys know that, and I don't know if I said it, and I probably said it already, but you do know that we're well aware of the fact that we can't even use the case. Yeah, so if you guys are sitting there pondering, well, why haven't she made another call to pursue opening the case? We can't even use the freaking case. You lied about everything in the case. The case is not about a hit and run. It's about a murder. It's a murder. It's a murder staged as a hit and run. Point blank. It's a murder staged as a hit and run. It was not a hit and run. It was staged. So it's actually a whole new case. So all the paperwork that was involved in it, that you took so much, creative writing to put in place to do, it was all lies. Everything, your conversation, everything about it was a wonderful lie. So no, there is absolutely no point in trying to reopen that case. So if you could kindly do us a favor and let us have the pictures and everything that we need in order to pursue a new case in regards to this. Because it seems like that's the only way we're going to actually get something to take place in this, because obviously you guys are not, obviously you guys are not going to admit to it. I mean, Ashley, with her wonderful self, she tried to reach out and, share that, she had nothing to hide. But even that caught up with her. She unfortunately gave her own secret away. Keep waiting. If you think there's not more to come, keep waiting. And keep checking in. I'll keep you updated. For the rest of you guys that are looking at the images or whatever, we do have, unfortunately, more images to come, additional to even the ones that I share with you. There's even faces in the ice. In the glass. So if you want to start even zooming in on the glass and seeing what you can see from the glass, yes, the glass on the car and the crackling, there's even facial reflections there. So yeah, and and for those individuals too that was a part of this whole thing, even if you want to, if you want to go and see what images you come up with, and if you decide that you want to finally share the truth, then yes, you can please go ahead and you can send me some names of the individuals that are involved too. I don't discriminate. We would love all the help and support we can get. So if you decide to turn from your wicked and evil ways and do the right thing, then we would greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate it. Because I know that has to be a heavy burden to carry. And again, if I sound disappointed, I am. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. Because we had people to stand up in our face and tell us with their chest stuck out that they were doing this, they were waiting on this, and it was all a lie. You were just sitting there yelling at us and treating us the way you were because you was in a suit, because you was in a uniform, or because you thought you had authority to do so. You thought you had an authority to lie. You had the right to lie. You had the right to inconvenience us with your creative imaginations during the time that we was grieving over our brother, my mother's son, my sister-in-law's husband, my nieces and nephew's father. So yeah, when I see stuff like this, it disappoints me because it sends me back to that moment and remembering what we went through. And just to know we should have been giving you a standing ovation and clapping our wonderful hands for you for your performance. So take a bow. You fooled us. We believed you. We believed every lie that you told us until I didn't. You guys be blessed. We'll get back to the images. Just thought I'd share the incident report with you guys. Stay prayed up. Thank you.